with the show GamePlan live on 99.7 Joy FM and 103.9 Hits FM. From wherever you're tuning in, welcome to the show. We are on from now till 3 p.m. talking the best from the world of sports, the best analysis, the best views, unrivaled perspectives. All here, proudly brought to you by Patriot Soul as well as DSTV. My name is Fentio Tahiru Fentio. On the menu today, we've got quite a lot to discuss today. The draw for the WAFU B and the 17 championship has concluded with Ghana in Group A alongside Cote d'Ivoire and Benin. So just 3 teams in Ghana's group. And Group B will have Burkina Faso, Nigeria, Togo, and Niger. That competition will start on May 15 to May 28. And that is the qualifiers for the African Under-17 Championships, which will then serve as the qualifier for the next FIFA Under-17 World Cup. There's huge development as far as that Under-17 team is concerned, Black Starlets. So Lai Kinsing, who had been assistant coach to Karim Zito, was only yesterday confirmed as the new head coach for Ghana's Under-17 team. It's an official role that he's now assumed, obviously because he's done some great work in the past to convince the people at the top that he can do the job all by himself. And so we'll be looking at what his emphasis should be. Ghana has not been to the Under-17 World Cup since the year 2017. So it's been 7 years the last time we were at the Under-17 World Cup. The last time we were there, Kudus Mohammed was a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old going on 17. Now he plays in European competitions, Champions League, Europa League, for fun. And we're not talking about him being one of the best players on the African continent. And in Europe, some might argue. So it's been a while since we last participated in that competition. This is the start of that journey to the competition, the Under-17 World Cup. So there is that to come here on the show. Now, the Ghana Football Association 2 weeks ago also introduced as many as 5 new national teams for the women's category, and then 4 new national teams for the men. So that is amazing. Okay, now those new national teams, I'm just going to go through them. They still don't have names, obviously. But I'll be very interested in what names you think we should give to them. Okay. As far as the new national teams are concerned, it's a lot of national teams. Okay. As far now for the national teams for the boys, the 4 new national teams for the boys will be U16, U18, U19, and U21. Before, we had an under-15 team, we had an under-17 team, we had an under-20 team, and an under-23 team, and the Black Stars. So we had 5 national teams as far as the men are concerned. Now we have 4 more new national teams as far as the men are concerned. So now in total, Ghana has as many as 9 national teams as far as men's football is concerned. And it starts from under 15 national team, under 16 national team, under 17 national team, under 18 national team, under 19 national team, under 20 national team, under 21 national team, under 23 national team, and the senior national team. That's 9 national teams. For the women, in the past, we only had 4 national teams. There was the U15, U17, U20, and the Black Queens. These were the national teams we had, 4 of them in the women's football. Now they've added 5 more national teams to the women, which means that the women are also now up to 9 national teams. They've added U16 women, U18 women, U19 women, U21 women, and U23 women. Or let me say girls, because these are teenagers, right? So now in total we have an under 15 girls national team, under 16 girls national team, under 17 girls national team, under 18 girls national team, under 19 girls national team, under 17, under 20, under 21, under 23, and Black Queens. That's what we're dealing with. So the GFA says that the decision was done in consultation with the technical directorate, and it is geared towards full implementation of the football strategy and philosophy. That is what it is. That's what the GFA says. Okay? And they said this strategy will not only ensure a smooth transition of players from one age group to the next age group, but also to ensure we do not lose out on talents on the national front. I'm not exactly sure how talent will be lost. I'm imagining how all these national teams will be maintained, or whether all of them are even necessary in the first place. Because in the past, when you have U17 national team, it has 16-year-olds, it has 15-year-olds, it has 17-year-olds. So what is that going to be like? Is there going to be a strict implementation of an age so that if you are under 17 and you are 15 or 16, you go to the U16 or the U15? Like, I'm trying to figure out how that will work. It will be a very interesting conversation to be had. Okay. And they say the formation of the new national teams will also offer a lot more of our trained coaches who will be using the DNA. It will be offering them opportunities at elite level. So they said they are training too many coaches and they need to give them a lot of national teams. Okay? And the statement goes on to say players from each of the age groups will progress to the next level year after year as they will come, train, and play games locally and internationally for the development. Are the GFA going to keep all of these players in camp the whole time? Or what is this strategy? All right, we also have UEFA Champions League, of course. Real Madrid showing yet again why they're named Kings of Europe, or why they've been nicknamed the owners of the UEFA Champions League. But there's a lot of people crying out in Barcelona over the officiating. We'll talk about that as well here on the show. It's live and interactive. Your messages are welcome, 055-111-1997 on WhatsApp, and also on Twitter. Use the hashtag GamePlan. We'll read those messages for you right here on the show. All right, show proudly brought to you by Petrosol as well as DSTV. The guys are all in studio, getting a little bit impatient with me because they said that I was taking too much time with my introduction. But I had to establish the premise, okay? Very important premise. Switch off Philip Atrim is here.
Sue.
Daniel Cransing is here. Jowlishing is here. Guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
We're good.
What a good week.
What a week.
Wow. But you talk.
Yeah, I really talk. But now let's not waste time talking about. He's talking about my talking. The same way Achu likes to and Muftau likes to interrupt the interruption. You are talking about my talking. All right, listen. We've got a lot to cover today, and there's only one place to start, and let's get that out of the way. The UEFA Champions League is now done and dusted in terms of the final four. Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. They beat Arsenal 1-0 to complete a 3-2 aggregate victory to book a place in the semi-finals. Joshua Kimmich with the only goal. They will face Real Madrid, who held Man City to a 4-4 draw, if you like, in over 210 minutes of football, and then won on penalties, obviously, to progress. So the defending champions dumped out of the competition. So it's going to be Real Madrid against Bayern Munich. And then on the other side of the draw, Borussia Dortmund stunned Atletico Madrid at home. And they are also through to the semi-finals. And there they will obviously... it's the first final since 2013, is that correct?
Yeah. First semis.
First semis, thank you. Since they made the final back in 2013.
Yeah.
That was a mighty, mighty long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Since club.
11 years.
Since club, that's a long time. And they've had a team that's very unfancied. I didn't even think that they had it in them to do what they did to Atletico Madrid, but they did. And Borussia Dortmund are in the final as well. So it's what it is. What's the fourth team in the final?
PSG.
Paris Saint-Germain shocked Barcelona. Okay. Luis Enrique doing the remontada that he did with Barcelona against PSG. This time around with PSG against Barcelona. Despite losing the first leg 3-2, they won the second leg convincingly to complete a 6-4 aggregate victory. But there are lots of issues emanating from that Champions League. Issue number one, and that is slightly related to what happened yesterday in the Europa League as well, where Bayer Leverkusen's unbeaten start to the season continued. 44 matches now in all competitions unbeaten. Yesterday, they showed exactly why. Coming from behind to draw 1-0 with West Ham, knocking them out 3-2 on aggregate. In the 3-1 on aggregate, I beg your pardon, in the Europa League. Liverpool also won 1-0 against Atalanta. But the first leg 3-0 deficit means they exit the competition 3-1 on aggregate. Those defeats for the English teams, not a single one in any European competition. Well, the Europa League, 2 of them knocked out. The Champions League, 2 of them knocked out. Only Aston Villa in the UEFA Conference League semi-finals. But the exit of the 4 English teams means that next season, that 5th UEFA Champions League slot will not go to them. Most likely will go to Germany.
No, we are going to Italy.
No, Italy have a guaranteed 1 already.
Yeah. Okay, so the other one.
The 2, yes. The
Italy
other
could
one.
actually have 6, depending upon if.
There you go. Exactly.
AS Roma or
But Italy, they've
Fiorentina.
guaranteed their 5th one already. So don't worry about
But we are looking for the 6th. Yeah, because if AS Roma or Fiorentina go on and win their respective competitions.
True story.
Yeah, we could be in
Atalanta.
Atalanta as well. AS Roma,
But the point I'm making is that 5th one that was a straight fight between Germany and England is now well and truly over for the English.
Yeah, it's done.
So the true Farmers League knocked out of Europe, and because surely the Farmers League can't be the ones doing so well that they're getting
possible.
extra sports.
Yeah,
exactly,
possible,
right?
Yeah.
So the Farmers League are the ones that are not doing well in Europe
And
and are not getting the extra sport.
Yes.
Okay, so big problem for English football. But guys,
But if it's not a famous league, how is the one manager is perhaps on his way to win it 4 times in the last 5 years?
Calm down.
It's won it 6 times in the last 7.
The rankings are based on this season.
your point is,
if you go back previous seasons, the English Premier League has dominated European football.
But
it's cool. This is just a bad
when
year.
it matters.
Yeah,
when it matters.
It's just a bad
the
year.
character.
We'll see who win next season.
When it matters, they don't have the soon too.
Sicho, let's go through them one by one. Let's begin with that game between Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain.
Right.
The issues coming out of it are very clear. And it is that Barcelona fans, their manager included, feel that the officiating undid all of their hard work.
No, I don't think the officiating did anything. I think the decisions made on the pitch did everything. And I think, first off, the way Barcelona started the game, credit to them though, they took the lead. By the way they started the game on the back foot. So at home, you're expecting them to keep a lot of the ball, get PSG to run around a bit more. But it's almost as if right at kickoff, Barcelona conceded possession to PSG and they were sat in their own half. Then on the counter, they got that goal coming through. Great job by Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, who didn't know too much about the finish, but in the end got in the right place at the right time to find a flourish. But you've got to look at the decisions the referee had to make and why he had to make them, and see if you're going to blame the referee or you're going to blame the players who got the referee to make the decision. In the first instance, Barca who's made a mistake in their own half, in their own third, and PSG have capitalized. Bakula gets the ball and takes a very good touch across Araujo. But I wonder if Bakula might have just overrun that ball, in facing Ter Stegen. But what Araujo doesn't realize is that the path of run that Araujo chose, there was no way in a million years he was going to get to the ball before the player. And he also didn't check his shoulder to look if he was the last man or not. And he was the last man. It's funny because the incident also happened outside the box. So it was a straight red card. The reason why I say it's funny is because if it was a step further and it went into the box, the new rule of the no double punishment would have meant that it's a pen, which is the one punishment, and it's a yellow card, not a red card. So the context is, where did the foul happen? And was the ball towards goal? And was he the last man? The foul happened outside the box. He was the last man, and Bakula's touch was taking the ball right towards goal, not away from goal. So the referee had to look at all these situations and analyze it. And in analyzing it, last man outside the box with the ball bearing down on goal, that is a red card. A more experienced defender allows him to go on because you're still leading the game. You're still giving your goalkeeper a chance to make a save. You're going to see if Bakula has got what it takes to score 1-on-1, because he's not Mbappe. He's not a player that you certainly sure is going to finish. Like I said, the way he touched the ball was a great touch across the defender, but he probably took the ball too close to the goalkeeper that he would have wanted. And Araujo miscalculated, he misjudged outside the box. That was a foul, that was a record. Then Xavi also got furious. And it wasn't for Xavi's verbal outburst. It was a verbal outburst. I guarantee you the referee is going to warn him. But when you've gone to kick UEFA's branding for the camera set, for the equipment that they've got there,
right in front
of the fourth official, that is anywhere else in the world, it is a red card. I don't see how anybody sees what Xavi did. It's violent conduct. And the thing about kicking things there is that you don't know where these things are kicking are going to end up. Xavi didn't injure anybody, but if you encourage that, another manager is going to kick a bottle and it's going to go right into the stands or injure somebody in the dugout. So coaches and people on the bench have always been educated not to throw or kick things about in those areas. And so the referee was spot on to be firm. If it's in La Liga, maybe he gets away with it. But in the Champions League, at this level, you don't get away with these things because that is the benchmark. That is what everybody's going to use to judge the officiating in Europe. So Barcelona lacked their discipline. Araujo should have allowed the player to go through, or maybe chosen a better angle to his run. Xavi, as a coach, should have known that he couldn't have gone that far to kick it. And from that point, Xavi then had to make a decision after the red card. Was it the right choice to bring off Lamine Yamal? Maybe he's thinking he's young. 10 against 11, he might not have the experience to cope with the demands of the game. But up until that point, he was their brightest spot in attack. So are you going to take him on for his quality, or are you going to bring him off for his inexperience? I thought you chose the latter, brought him off for his inexperience, and I thought maybe then that helped Barca a little bit. Because for it doesn't matter how good Robert Lewandowski has been in the past, he's not been great this season. And whenever the ball went long to him, he couldn't make it stick. So what was his value in the game anyway? But I can understand it's not easy to pull off Robert Lewandowski when they got Lamine Yamal and Rafinha in the game. So there was that.
They're going to kill you for that.
Yeah, but credit to PSG, because once that happened, they didn't rush it. I've seen teams who 10 against 11 are going to rush it. They're going to straight away be looking for the answers. But they were patient. And that's one thing we've seen about Luis Enrique's team. Sometimes boring, but what they have is patience. And they look for those moments, and when those moments arrive, they punish Barca.
Daniel, the second penalty incident, I find that very difficult to understand. I mean, I can understand maybe a rush of adrenaline. Sometimes it can happen. But he's going away from goal, and the tackle that comes in, it's just... I've heard Thierry Henry say that he struggled to understand exactly what happened. It's what Chicho is saying, that yes, too many individual misjudgment from the Barca players really cost them this match, and their manager too.
Yeah, the manager's red card for me, I don't really see it as a big deal. Those things happen and teams still go on to win the game. And even the scenarios that panned out even after Xavi left, I think Barca could easily have got two goals even after Xavi left. But that's aside. You're talking about the Cancelo penalty. First of all, that is typical Cancelo. That is on-brand Cancelo. He's a very bad defender. We all know that. His defensive instincts can be quite problematic at times. And as I said, that was typical him. And it's quite unfortunate that sometimes players' instincts kick in at the wrong time. They are, should I say, negative instincts. He really didn't have to make the tackle. I think it was Dembele. He was going away from goal.
Miscontrolled the ball.
Yeah, he miscontrolled the ball. The ball had now landed on his right foot. He was being forced onto his wrong side. Dembele is stronger with his left foot. Yeah, you might say he's ambidextrous, but he's much better with his left foot. So he was going away from goal on his wrong side. And a smart defender would just shield him away from goal. Guide him away. Obviously, he will try and turn. Then you have that one-on-one, you facing him. That's a much better thing than throwing yourself into the tackle. Because another thing that, and in as much as it's Cancelo's instincts, for me, when you are a player like Cancelo and you are that smart going forward, he should understand that attacking players also, they'll play for these things.
Yeah.
Even though Dembele has miscontrolled the ball, he can sense a tackle coming, and he will play it. He will play you, so you don't have to make that tackle. So it was quite disappointing that Cancelo threw himself into that tackle. But for me, I will, and I'll say this thing. You see, it's three things when you're analyzing games. Three things that you need to look at from the coaching point of view, then the application, and then there might be some element of luck. Some of these things happen. In terms of coaching, I think Xavi didn't outcoach Luis Enrique. He outclassed him over 2 legs. Barcelona were very comfortable. It didn't look like a Champions League semi-final team. You see, when you look at all the small stories, Enrique coming back to face Barcelona, there was the Xavi's Barcelona team. They really did a number on PSG. They were comfortable, very comfortable. First leg win away from home. Second leg at home, Barcelona looked comfortable at 1-0. You could tell that this was a game that was going to go according to script. Barca were going to see it off. Then the red card happened. Now, even after the red card, I think Barcelona were smart. You see, and I say they were smart because Xavi found a way of maintaining their identity while still being a threat. So they didn't retreat into sitting back and low block, no defending. Barca were still trying to play their game, and they still fashioned out some decent opportunities. Especially,
was that the smartest thing to do in your opinion?
Smart,
because they had a 2-0 lead down to 10 men.
Yes. Then they conceded a red card. Then they conceded a goal just before halftime. So coming into the second half, that is when you have had enough time to regroup and reset the strategy. For me, in that second half, look, I think Barcelona were. This is an elite game, and it comes down to fine margins. For me, from the coaching aspect, they did enough to be able to win the game. I'm looking at that Gundogan chance. I'm looking at that Rafinha opportunity. And you see, the Rafinha opportunity, for me, showed why Lewandowski has sort of lost it. Because, I don't know if you guys remember, Rafinha drives into the box. Yeah. He sort of shimmies like he's going out. Then he comes in again and plays a ball across the face of goal. Look, all the top strikers in this world will be on the end of those chances. Lewandowski stopped running. And that was wrong. You can't, like, a striker of Lewandowski's caliber cannot stop running in that instance. You follow your wingers run because you are not offside. You can't be offside if you are in line with the ball.
Copy PSG 3v2.
Exactly.
Ferran Torres runs off him, Rafinha on the other side instead of slipping Torres through.
And there was even, I think it was Joao Felix also.
Joao Felix, I think.
And then he opted to go for the shot. So those were scenarios where Barcelona could have killed the game. But it was quite disappointing from a Barca point of view. Now, the reason why I'm even extra disappointed in PSG, look, Luis Enrique and PSG are lucky.
How were they lucky?
They were really lucky
Even
that
in
Araujo made such a silly mistake.
But even in the first leg, despite losing 3-2, I thought that PSG actually had enough chance. They should not have lost that match.
They should not have lost. Fine.
So that
you can argue they shouldn't have lost.
Yes.
But in terms of
So when you
coaching
say
and
they are
home
lucky,
advantage,
yeah.
what Barcelona did in Paris was superior. Barcelona were brilliant. And Barca, up until the red card, and I know it might sound like an excuse, but I'm looking at a purely coaching point of view.
At 2-1 in Paris, at 2-1 after the Vitinha's brilliant goal at 2-1, I thought PSG could have straight up gone like 4-1.
Yes.
They had a 10-minute spell that, especially after the last second half, that Barca were completely like struck by the movements and some of the changes. It's true they recovered well.
They recovered well.
PSG couldn't find.
It was more of a moment. That's how I'm seeing it. It was more of PSG.
And that's football.
That's football.
Yeah.
But when you let that pass and you look at it holistically, and that's what I'm looking at over the 2 legs, holistically in terms of strictly coaching, I think Xavi did a much better job, much better job than Luis Enrique. And again, I will criticize Luis Enrique for his use of Mbappe over the 2 legs. We all know that, look, the best player in PSG, probably the best player in the world at the moment, is Kylian Mbappe. How he used him in the first leg, and even especially the second leg after the red card, it was almost like he didn't know who he had in his team. Yes, you might look at the goals and see Mbappe scored 2 goals.
Yeah, but he didn't play well.
But he didn't. He was virtually quiet.
He basically ghosted over the
ghosted. He struggled
between him and the team.
And for me, look, it's where he played Bakula. That is basically where Mbappe should be playing. And even if, you see, this is my point, even if you want to accommodate all 3 players, there should be some fluidity in it. Allow Mbappe the freedom to be able to drift wide. It was almost a very strict instruction for Mbappe to stay narrow, central. And he doesn't thrive in
I know, but it's also because maybe against Barca, he's looking at the threats Lamine Yamal could pose, and Mbappe necessarily won't track back. Bakula will do a better job at tracking back. So maybe he doesn't trust Mbappe.
That I get. That I get. But when you are in possession, there are certain positions that players pick up in possession, and then out of possession you can retreat. What I'm saying is that when you looked at Mbappe, it was very clear that he was instructed to stay in the number 9 position. And for me,
he didn't thrive in that position.
He didn't thrive, and I'm afraid he could repeat the same thing against Dortmund. And maybe if you don't take care, it could be a different result.
And it's very ironic that we're being more critical of
the winning team,
Luis Enrique. It does tell you the kind of maybe expectation that we've come to have on PSG, which again, it's very ironic because I don't think a lot of people expected PSG to actually get this far, especially at the start of this season. When you look at the way Luis Enrique and his PSG team have played, I think even in the group stages they struggled.
But they were in the group of death.
They were.
That was a very tough group.
It was a tough group, but I'm saying that from the evidence of the matches they played in the group stages, we didn't think that PSG had a really good team, So I have been really impressed with PSG. I'm not.
They're also on a treble, yeah.
They're
in the cup final. They're top of the league. They're in the semifinals of the Champions League.
And that is
but it's gone quiet a little.
And that is to say that PSG this season in particular, and even if you look at the kind of players that they've invested in this season, it's not being the typical PSG. And yet Luis Enrique is getting the results. And you mentioned the thing even about the red card. We've seen teams go down one man and still go on to win the games or hold on to advantages. It's left to the opposition team to find a way to still get the win, because at the time they got the red card, Barcelona had a 2-goal advantage, and they needed to overturn that. So you couldn't just sit down and do it. You had to play your best football, because like I said, we've seen that happen many times where teams go down a man and still be able to hold on to an advantage for as long as they could.
I'm just saying that PSG can be much better. They can be. And for me, look, let's not dance around the issue. That path has helped them. Look, trust me. You've had Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern, Arsenal all on one side of the draw.
It's not their fault, though.
No, it's not their fault. I'm not saying it's their fault.
So I don't know why you're bringing it up.
No, you beat who's in front of you. That's fine. Good. But let's not act like the semi-final PSG has reached is the same as the semi-final that Real Madrid has reached.
Wait, which semi-final is Real? Which one is
PSG? PSG had the other side. If PSG had the other side,
you are a madman.
No, let's not do that. No. We will not do that.
The PSG people, did they ask that they be?
But no, I'm not saying they asked that.
They were drawn. You see, people are not, they were drawn against the Spanish champions. That's not easy.
Who?
PSG.
Oh, today Barca.
Against Barca.
Well, Barca
Coming
not
into
Spanish
the,
champions.
coming into the. No, listen, and even listen, Barca
Now
have
you're
had
using
a,
branding.
Barca
You are
have
not
not,
using.
Barca have not had a great season.
Yeah,
Barca came into that game as good as Barca came into that game. Not meant to
And
put too
PSG
short.
have had a great season.
Yes, they are
Yeah,
top
they are
of their
on top of
league.
their league,
They are in a cup.
Have you even given them credit for having a great season?
But PSG are always top of
PSG are always top
this
of
is-
their league.
You see,
This is unbranded.
No, but listen. No, I get what you're saying, because what Enrique has had to do is to strip the club of everything they call their culture, the bling bling. And I remember.
No, and it's a good thing, though. You
Kalachi
see,
said it.
It's a
I don't want to
fantastic
enter that
achievement for Luis
conversation.
Enrique.
Yeah.
I don't want us to enter that
because since
conversation.
they allowed some people to go.
No, we all knew that's what they had to do. We all knew that's what they had to do. But people are looking at
That
it
is
like Enrique has done something that was unpopular and wrong, and now he's
no,
getting
no, no, no.
results.
I
No,
don't
he's
think
done the
that-
right
I don't
thing.
think that's the
He's
conversation.
done the
No,
right
but the
thing.
thing, the truth is, even if
We all
Enrique
knew he
is
would get
like,
results when he did this thing.
it wasn't for Enrique to decide who was going to leave or going to stay. They were leaving already before. They
Yeah,
didn't
they
make
were,
clean
they were,
slate.
they were.
You know, he didn't say, I don't want Neymar, I don't want this.
No, the fans said they didn't
Yeah,
want them.
yeah.
Mr. Tamaklo,
Yeah.
listen.
See it. The fans said they don't want them.
If you would indulge me, I really would want us to move on from that Barca conversation, PSG conversation, and go into another one, a really big one. And we'll talk about Arsenal briefly. But first, Man City against Real Madrid. I've seen this narrative on Twitter with, I think it was, or it's probably being propagated by English pundits who say that Real Madrid did not come to Man City to play football, and Man City had 30 shots and Real Madrid only had 10, and look, and that Real Madrid did not deserve to win. And quite frankly, if you look at the first leg, the way it went, quite a number of people ruled out Real Madrid, myself included. Daniel included. Daniel said the second leg would be over by the 30th minute.
60th.
60th
Hey, you are
minute.
half the thing. Charlie, this guy.
He said it would be over by the 60th minute. Look, a lot of people.
But you didn't mention that I was the only one person who said that it's not as
yeah,
straightforward as
no,
you
you
think.
said it wasn't straightforward.
Yeah.
But you did say Man City were favourites to go through, which is fine. You know. But
For the first
bottom
time.
line, bottom line is, and that's what I jokingly tweeted, that when it comes to the Champions League, there is something about Real Madrid and the way they get the result. And we've had this conversation before where I've asked the question whether or not you think Carlo Ancelotti doesn't get enough credit for his own tactical news. And even after the game, Jude Bellingham was asked about it. He said the reason they play so well is because he gives them the freedom. And I'm thinking, he doesn't give you tactical instructions. He gives you the freedom to play what you like.
Freedom
and that's
is
why
tactical
That's in
instructions.
itself is tactics.
So
that's what I'm saying. But and he did mention that other teams play in this
Well-structured
intricate
passing,
manner.
rehearsed.
And he said it's nice
to
but
see.
that's not what they teach us, and that's not what he tells us to do. He just tells us to go and enjoy our football, and we have a lot of freedom to do whatever we want, to take decisions on the pitch. What is it about Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid that has made them look so successful, and yet when you look at the evidence of the football that is played, you sometimes tend to think they don't deserve to go through? And we've had this conversation about Real Madrid so many times where they've won matches and you look back, it's like, how the hell did that happen?
Okay. I'll try to answer all of those, which is quite a bit. But the first point about people's appreciation of Real Madrid team and that performance and Carlo Ancelotti and all of that. The simplest explanation, and this is not up for debate. I don't care if you disagree out there, but you're wrong. A lot of people do not appreciate it enough.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are not sufficiently educated on the subject matter of Ancelotti's body of work
There you go.
to then be in the position to say that this is not good enough or this is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so often we, from very uninformed positions, make conclusions that, oh, Ancelotti is not a tactical coach or he's not technically sophisticated. That's what it is. And I don't care. It's not for debate because
I saw a very interesting question.
how
from
many people
Sicho,
can
who
make
said
sense of
from his point of view, he wants to know, like he genuinely wants to know from the public, what is Ancelotti's style of football?
He's asking the wrong people.
I know, at Real Madrid, yes.
Look, and the question that he asked, a lot of people did not even understand
The
it.
question.
And then, the tweet itself, and then they jump to go and say, look, people don't understand the body of work itself.
Help us.
To break it down.
Help us.
Then to tell people that, no, it's not just about this Real Madrid team, because it's been the one thing, especially English football fans have been saying about Ancelotti's team from time immemorial. It is wrong. You don't understand it. The fact that you are not sufficiently educated on the subject matter does not mean that there is no rich content there, or does not mean that there is no technical value there.
Let's go through Ancelotti's style and how it fed into Wednesday night's game.
So I'll try to explain some of the simplest things that I picked up.
Okay.
You realize that at any point in time, and we're discussing this off air, whenever a Real Madrid player ran into traffic, there was one player always in proximity in the first phase of their build-up for them to pass the ball to. And that
Cruise control.
And that was Toni Kroos.
Yes.
Yeah, Toni Kroos,
It was not by accident.
the guy they play ball brutal.
Sabon, mommy.
Hey.
It was not by accident.
I know someone who disagrees.
Oh, it's not.
Don't mind him.
And also,
That guy says Isaac is better than Haaland. If I catch him,
my brother,
Presidente.
the fundamentals.
Shout out to Kojo Genti.
Yeah, man.
He does not like Toni Kroos. What? Every day he has Toni Kroos
He's on his neck.
So, but he likes to boost line. No, yeah.
Those things were not by accident. Look, there is a way coaches arrange their teams, the structure and everything, and who plays where. So when you look at the heat maps, you'll find that players often operate in a particular zone and they don't go beyond that. That is a clear instruction from the coach, right? A few times they may stray further away from that and all of that. That is why whenever there is the analysis of the Chelsea-Barcelona game at the Stamford Bridge in 2009, and I think David Duncan famously explained this on Twitter, that while people praised Michael Essien for what he was doing, he was worried that at some point he was going to be punished because he got too excited and was always vacating his position. And ultimately, the goal that decided the tie came because Essien vacated his position. Iniesta fired that ball into the net. So there are clear tactical instructions to these players. And yesterday, Toni Kroos, or on Wednesday, Toni Kroos was that outlet for the players whenever they were in trouble. And he made things a bit simpler and allowed Real Madrid to play against possibly the best pressing team in the world at the moment, if not the best pressing team, right? So, or if not one of the best pressing teams. There was that. And then if you look at the way the team has played generally over the season, and again, a lot of the people who are saying Real Madrid are defensive, it is not factual. It is coming from people who have not watched Real Madrid enough this season. I would perhaps agree.
Is it just this season or the game against the second leg against Man City? They were defensive.
What we are responding to are the sweeping statements people have made that they are defensive.
They are generalizing everything
and that they don't
because of
deserve
that one
to
game.
be here.
Okay.
Those are people who don't watch Real Madrid enough and do not have enough information on the current iteration of the Real Madrid team and how far Ancelotti has taken them.
Okay.
How many injuries has this team not had?
Quite a lot.
How many players did not leave Real Madrid, especially the key players who we thought, or the key positions we thought they needed to have signed?
People won't appreciate it because for the injuries, they are huge. His first two centre-back players are out.
Alaba
Militao and Alaba.
Militao.
His first number one and the best goalkeeper in the world coming into the season, Courtois,
got injured.
is out the whole season.
ACL. And then the left back, Ferland
Mendy only
for
got back.
2/3 of the season.
Now, he doesn't have an elite striker, so he's had to find a way of finding goals in this team. He came into the game without his best defensive midfielder in Tchouameni. So the problems coming into the game against City at Etihad that almost every European team will not survive were huge.
He managed that, and then Tchouameni gets suspended in that first leg, so he doesn't get to play. He's worked out around all of this in a season where he has to manage the transition of the biggest signing from the summer in Jude Bellingham and ensure that the player fits in. And Ancelotti scores 4 marks in that sense because he doesn't only get the player to settle, his settlement is so good that the player acclimatizes and then he becomes the guy who answers the goal scoring problem that Real Madrid had. So up until now, there are many people who don't even remember that Madrid did not make a significant outlay for a centre forward to replace Karim Benzema.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning of the season, he was rationing the goal scoring responsibility, essentially rotating it between Vinicius Jr. and then, of course, it was Bellingham who was scoring the chunk of the goals. Vini got injured at a point. So that centre forward experiment
was all
Bellingham and
And even Rodrigo had a dry spell.
Yeah,
for like
dry
some
spell.
months.
Look, even in the first leg, that some Real Madrid fans complain. You know how often we say that a team should not be imbalanced or lopsided. They need to have sufficient balance and be effective in every phase of their attack. I don't know how many of you noticed. The entire right side of Real Madrid's attack was redundant. Nothing happened there. The entire plan was that in order to be able to deal with Man City's midfield problems, they needed to vacate that space and allow one of their 3 players further up the pitch to join in the middle of the park in Jude Bellingham and then support them to be able to at least deal with that midfield problem they had. And still, they were able to retain that sharpness in front of goal. So if you look at how they've stayed competitive from the beginning of the season up until now, you cannot look at that team and say that Ancelotti is defensive. They have not played defensive football. I would agree if you say the way they attack is perhaps not on the level of Man City. I would agree. Perhaps
football is not only about attack.
No,
it's about winning games.
And you see, here's the thing. A lot of people, there are very hypocritical takes on this particular matter, even for the English fans. Think of the greatest English teams in the modern era. How many of them were dominant in the true sense of the word?
They were not. Even when Man United won the treble in 1999, they didn't play domination football.
Yeah, like they were probably one of the best teams in Europe. Played football that
just
on the
play efficient football.
Yes.
That's it. You don't need to dominate.
If there is any team who you can say in the last 20 or in the last 30 years from England that you can use the word dominance to describe, it will be Pep's Barca.
Yes.
In the context of European football. But even that is not sufficient basis. It's not happened enough times for that to then be the measuring rod for what everyone else does or how everyone else wins, right? If you say that this is how it is done, it means that over time, repeatedly, this is what you are used to. And so there is a brand of football. There is a profile of players that are unique. And that style wins. That style dominates repeatedly. But since 1993-94 season till now, in the 90s, the best English team in the Champions League, Leeds United, I think, made the semis a few years before United won it in 99. United were not the most dominant team in Europe. United made the quarters in 2001. United were not the most dominant team in Europe. Come back to the Chelsea period before Abramovich came. When I think they made the semis or so.
Yes,
they were not the most dominant. They were not the most dominant team. The Chelsea team under Jose Mourinho was not the most dominant team. Man United's period again, 2007, 08, 09 when they made the finals. 2011 when they made the finals, they were not. Chelsea. As for Chelsea, people even say they got lucky in their first Champions League run.
Anybody who says that, you go chop slap
against Bayern Munich. So I don't know.
Real Madrid are not lucky. Chelsea are not lucky. So, it is efficient football.
So I don't know where the idea
you can't say Real Madrid are not lucky on one front and come and see Chelsea were lucky.
So look, when Carragher and people say the sort of things they say, I don't know where they get that idea from. And in terms of Ancelotti's body of work, look, Basigi always tells me this, and it's something I will never forget. He says, coaching in the simplest of words means creating an enabling environment and the right tactical context for your best actors to thrive, while for as much as possible, minimizing the conditions that make it favorable for your opponent to thrive. That is coaching.
It's management.
That is
a form of management.
But that is not to say that the entertainment value of football needs to be relegated to the background. That's why.
But what is even entertainment?
Sir, please, can I
I know that's the question you are going to. What is entertainment? Is it the possessive football?
No.
Because that's not entertaining to me. I will celebrate a clearance more than I will celebrate a dribble.
At the end of the day, there is a place for every person and what they stand for and what they were able to accomplish.
Just to help you.
There are those who would look at Ancelotti's body of work and celebrate him. The fact that you don't understand the tactical aspects of his job does not mean it is not technical. Look, even what Jude Bellingham said, the issue about giving players freedom. What Jude Bellingham says, it is you who doesn't understand that thinks that it means he's only a man manager. What he says is that he can make sense of when you remember soil profiling in school. When you break each layer of the soil, the various elements.
Greek school. Why?
Yes, the various elements of the soil
Take us to a Greek
that
school.
make it possible and collectively gives it its rich ingredients. For which reason the loamy soil or whatever that we use, the black soil that we use to farm, is fit for purpose, right? When you introduce clay, you will not get the same variable for all the crops that you want to.
Yes.
So each player, when you break down their profile, there are roles and responsibilities on the pitch that they can perform. It is up to the coach to make sense of all of those players and their unique skill sets, and determine that within this context, I can play Valverde, I can play Toni Kroos, I can play Bellingham, and still get the result and what I want.
So in the Real Madrid
what Bellingham is saying that in the context of Real Madrid, Ancelotti is able to create the right context for all of them to play their game and give them the.
That makes sense.
Don't we always refer to some methods as being very reductive, as being backward, as setting or holding some teams back and not allow. Danny was explaining how Luis Enrique's methods did not allow Kylian Mbappe.
Thrive.
Have we said about that about any of Real Madrid's players?
Nope.
That's a good question. The question I really wanted to ask you though was that the Real Madrid team, who is the loamy soil? Which one is sandy soil? Which one?
Bellingham.
Oh, then you need
Bellingham is
Bellingham is
loamy.
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 So if you make a mistake and you bring sandy soil Vinicius to Bellingham's loamy, it's not terminate.
No, the proper sandy soil is Rudiger. Rough.
Yeah, sandy soil. But
Sir, please, I just a quick one here.
Go on.
Sir, please, this is a cup competition.
It is a cup competition. It's about progressing.
And I like the way Achu started. You see, for people who make that blanket statement, Real Madrid are defensive. Just as Achu said, it means you've not watched Real Madrid enough this season. They are most, and I understand, everybody, we're all fans of the various leagues that we like. So on your Saturday, you probably spend a chunk of your time watching the league that you like. We know that Sicho, if he gets Premier League here and Serie A here, he will lean towards his
that's
Serie
why
A.
we have 5 teams in Europe and you have 4.
Quick.
The league is famous.
Quick.
Somebody calls them, and this is not me. I saw it somewhere. Somebody said that at the Premier League, they say he calls them the ones who. Let me just be specific. The ones who fixate on Premier League calls them blindfolded Premier League fans.
Yes.
Blindfolded Premier. Just say they've only.
You can't
That's
see
the only
anything
thing they
else.
watch.
You can't see anything.
And me, honestly, I don't see anything wrongly because there are people who also watch La Liga.
Oh yeah.
And they only see Premier League
So
teams
the
in
knowledge about
Champions
the
League.
other leagues
But
it was the fundamentals.
If you've watched Real Madrid enough, even in this season's Champions League, if you've watched Real Madrid enough over the years in UEFA Champions League, you understand that they understand that it's a cup competition better than anybody else. In cup competitions, you can't go with your general style, your philosophy through and through. Something will have to give. There are times where you will meet certain teams who are better than you, who are used to what they're in certain areas. So something will have to give. You have to adapt. You have to be a bit more pragmatic. And Real Madrid understand that thing better than anybody. When you look at the squad of players they have, obviously the football they played with Man City isn't the sort of style we expect them to. But it's even more credit to Ancelotti to be able to get these guys to play this style, be disciplined enough for them to see it through. Number 2, the word efficiency, that is where entertainment is.
Yes.
But most football fans don't know. See, the ball, you don't watch it because of the passing. Me, I'm telling you, you don't know. But you don't watch it because of the passing and the dribbling. No. The passing and the dribbling is a means to an end.
Yes.
When Messi is giving Sulier, he's dribbling 5 people. No. The reason why you say Messi is good is because every one Sulier Bia is 1 goal. One Sulier, 1 assist. It's not one Sulier. Then like Messi and Ben Arfa, they can be on the same. Ben Arfa can dribble the whole park, but not.
No, he's true.
No, it's true.
It's true.
It's a means to an end.
Yes.
What makes it, you see, what made Ronaldinho entertaining to watch and beautiful to watch is because when he's smiling and he's dancing in the hair, at the end of the day, on looking assist.
And the point is, when he dribbles past 5 players, he's left 5 players behind and created space.
He's created space and he's creating a chance that will lead to something.
Yes, that's the purpose of dribbling.
So
go
it is the efficiency at the end of it that's what makes sense to what he's doing. No?
Yes.
So when you say something is entertaining, no, it must bring value. That is why when you go to Atletico Madrid fans, no, see, the true Atletico fans, not the ones who are forced Diego Simeone to play this smelling football. The true Atletico fans, the ones who can cross their legs after they are leading 1-0 in first leg and tell you that if you're a man, go and score. And true, you can't score them.
They're the ones who celebrate the tackles.
They celebrate
more than the goal.
Because what entertains them is the efficiency of their team's defense.
Yes.
So when people say that, oh, Real Madrid defended and you are giving them credit, but when Mourinho was doing it, you say the suicide. Mourinho was losing matches, oh.
Yes.
Nobody got up and sacked Mourinho because of his style. He had a poor record with Roma at the tail end of his Roma career. That's why he was sacked. He wasn't getting results for Man U at the end. That's why he was sacked.
Mourinho has never been sacked for his style
of play.
No.
He's hailed when he's getting results. He's criticized when he's not getting results. Nobody is giving Arteta fans when Arsenal is playing well and losing. We give Arteta fans when Arsenal is playing nicely and they are winning. It is the results at the end of the day that justifies it. And you see, Real Madrid are really efficient. When you talk about attack, I don't need to create 10 chances to score 1 goal.
No.
I need 1 chance to score 1 goal. And if Ancelotti understands the efficiency of his players, he knows that Rodrigo know if you give him a chance in the box, he'll score.
Especially his Champions League nights.
Vinicius.
He has 30 goal contributions in 30 starts.
Yes.
He's only played 50 matches.
Yes.
And out of the 50, he started 30.
Yes.
And he has 30 goal
If
contributions.
Champions League nights, forget.
20 goals,
deliver.
10 assists. It's
Forget.
unbelievable.
So now let's talk about the teams on brand. Man City. This is not the first time Man City are creating how many? 33 shots or something and they score just 1 goal. This is not the first time.
No.
When you look at games where City have totally, even last season's 4-0 victory against Madrid, if you go and check the body of chances City created, the game could easily have ended 10.
Yes.
Easily. City miss a lot of chances. So for a defensive team that is coming, a team that is coming to stop City from playing, you know that, look, at the end of the day, City will by all means create. But what you can do is to limit that volume of chances.
Or limit the quality
Limit
of chances.
the quality. Even limit the how do I even put this one? They can create a chance, but make sure that the chance falls to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all tactics. Oh. It's all tactics. How you even
Or
position
to their weaker foot.
or to their, it's all instruction.
Yes.
So when you look at the fact that the whole game, no, Haaland had space, but somehow City were not able to find him. When you look at how Madrid even marked the box when Haaland went off, it was completely different.
Yes.
Completely different. Now is it Alvarez you're afraid of? So when you are crossing the ball into the box, he's on the wide areas. Why should you be afraid of him? You get it? It's all instruction. At the end of the day, it comes down to efficiency. And Madrid knew, and if you watch the game very well, Madrid's first half game plan was completely different from the second half.
Of course.
In the first half,
Even at
they
extra
were
time.
deadly. When it came to their counters, they knew exactly
There
what
was
they
a
were
point
doing.
where I tweeted that City were too open.
Yeah.
Every time Madrid
They were
went forward,
clearing the
they
ball
always
into
looked like they were
wide
going to
areas,
score.
and they always had runners who were
There was some ball
attacking those spaces.
it bounced too high. Vinicius couldn't.
He couldn't
control.
check.
Bro, like that ball. If like
See,
If you got it in his stride,
just,
like
to,
that's it.
just to support the point you are making, you see, the people who say that Real Madrid were too, if defending is easy,
Go and do something.
go and do some. Because see, the evidence of the 210 minutes of football that we saw, 90 minutes in Madrid, 120 minutes in City, is that it pointed to one thing. City cannot defend. In the whole 210 minutes, Man City were in the lead for merely 80 minutes.
Yeah.
But in the second leg alone, Real Madrid were in the lead for 76 minutes.
Yeah.
So, you see?
And it's coaching players to, well, we're not discussing this earlier.
Yeah.
Players to abandon their natural, expressive, attacking nature into conservative, defensive, and what we call.
Disciplined.
It's very difficult because look
So-
through the
so-
Real Madrid
yes,
players.
look, but
Once they get the
over
ball-
the 2 legs, Real Madrid were in the lead. They held the lead for 160 minutes. Man City, for over the 2 legs, could not. They held the lead for 80 minutes. So you score, you can't defend the lead. It's
seriously,
just somebody's
friends,
fault.
Friend, just to wrap up, when you want to quantify what a chance is, don't go and look at shots
and saves.
and saves. Real Madrid know that City outside the box. So you allow them to shoot. As for the shots, you can take the shots. How dangerous are those shots? That's when maybe the XG will come or the big chances created.
Yeah.
When you look at those key metrics, Real Madrid and City were basically creating the same.
Yeah.
The only difference was efficiency.
Yeah.
So if you want to go at anybody, You need to go at Manchester City for not taking their chances, and that's where the aura no counts. I was telling this boy this morning. I was doing some deep thinking over there, like Wednesday, Thursday, and I realized something. This soon spiritual still we are seeing for Madrid in Champions League. Seriously, it cuts across in almost every dominant team in every sphere.
Yeah.
Think about Man United under Ferguson. Man United didn't have to play well to win matches. Teams will get inexplicable chances, like empty poor crowd they are missing. Yes. Look at Torres. Torres dribbled the game and kicked the ball out. It's the aura. Like, you are not yourself when you are facing them.
You are playing Man United under Ferguson. You are leading by 2-0. And somewhere, United equalized on the 80th minute.
You are still leading. You have lost. You are still leading.
But you know you have lost.
You've lost.
Susu.
Body language, everything changes. And I was even making it practical for myself. If you are playing, let me just give you listeners this. For those of us who
Ronaldo is starting against our fire.
Quick. Hat-trick income.
Yes, quick.
Just a quick one, just to make it a bit more practical.
We talk about Arsenal.
Yeah, we'll get it.
You make a talk so.
See, you get it. Charlie, just a quick one. This is my last point. When if you play FIFA, for those of us who play FIFA,
yes,
when you are playing somebody you know is your senior player, and you slack and you score one goal, you are doing what you are doing, and all of a sudden the person gets some chance, maybe you do some skill, you notice for where hit back. All of a sudden, I know the game is over. You are leading,
Yes.
But you are the one holding the controller,
yes,
but you can't control the game.
Yes.
That's the aura. That aura, it can happen to everybody.
You see that skill, you don't know how they did it.
You don't know how they did it.
And sometimes there is a sequence you will see from the middle of the park.
Say, go no back.
You can
tell. You can tell.
You know that.
But you see, Tahiru, that is credit to the team you are facing.
That's true.
De Bruyne won't miss that chance if it was this weekend.
Luton Town.
What Luton Town? Chelsea. If they scat the ball back from
you ever get that against Petrovic.
Wait, are you saying that this weekend they are beating Chelsea?
If you cut the ball back, if Doku cuts the ball back for this thing, KDB, and it is Onana in the pool. But when it's Real Madrid,
Lunin that he's afraid of.
It's not really no. It's Real Madrid. It's that extra. Thank you. That extra pressure to get it right. Also, because and you could see Man City. Second half started, I'm watching the game. I'm like, why? I was running commentary in my head. Why are they panicking?
Yeah.
Like, you beat these guys 4-0 last season, but why are you panicking? And your aura, no. When you are big, you are big. It be simple.
Simple. And no, I don't know.
Fentus. It says beautiful, so Fentus.
Best stadium, what's it?
See.
Quick one.
Jamie Carragher surprises me when he says what he says, really. But and everybody else. And I've always said that the fact they started watching, I tweeted, the fact they started watching football in the tiki-taka era doesn't mean that is
how football
all there
is
is to
played.
football. And for anybody who is surprised at what Carlo Ancelotti is doing with this Real Madrid team this season, how he shaped this team up, hasn't seen enough of Ancelotti or doesn't have a retentive memory of something Ancelotti did and famously did. When Jamie Carragher's Liverpool team met AC Milan in that famous comeback in the Champions League final,
05.
The team setup of AC Milan is the same setup as you see. He played the box midfield with Pello doing the cruise job.
Yep.
Seedorf doing the Kamavinga job.
Yes.
Gattuso doing the Clarence Seedorf job.
Kaka.
And then Kaka doing the Bellingham job. They played Crespo and Shevchenko in Rodrigo and Vinicius.
Yes.
The difference in the back line, there was Jabstamp, there was Nesta, there was Cafudos, Maldini. The difference is the quality in that AC Milan team and the profile of players he had fits naturally. So in Vini and Rodrigo, who are naturally wide players, he had Sheva and then Crespo, who are proper strikers. In Kaká, who is naturally a gifted number 10, could play at the tip of that. And then Andre Pello, deep line playmaker, Bosu, receiving the ball like Toni Kroos would receive. There's Seedorf, who has a brilliant technician. In what maybe Valverde will give the energy. And there's Gattuso, who will slip in like Kamavinga would do to help Toni Kroos maintain a double pivot at times. How do you
play against that?
How have you seen Carlo Ancelotti all these years?
But see that,
and look at this Real Madrid team and not be able to connect that. You've seen this before.
That's the point. He could not make sense of it, even when he experienced it. So when he sees it being
because they met again 2 years later, it was exactly the same.
How do you watch Ancelotti and what this Real Madrid team? You don't even have to be an ex-player, but for anybody who has seen enough football, how do you watch this Real Madrid team set up and watch them this season and not remember that it is not new for Carlo?
Look,
So when Bellingham got into the team, and everybody was like, "How is he going to play?" And we saw.
He just bought a new Kaka.
Daniel and I discussed this
At the start
of the season how he was going to use Bellingham, and we referenced what he had done with that AC Milan team, and we are not seeing Real Madrid even play any friendly game.
And then Pepe.
And that is also why Bellingham is scoring as many goals as he is.
And
Because
Kaka
that's
was
exactly
believing
how
because
Kaka was doing it.
Kaka will get into the, and we know Shevchenko is not like Crespo, who is very much in the box, and even Crespo and Dakalo was very mobile. So I can't understand how anybody would think that this is not by design but by accident and question
And by luck. The way they have used is luck.
the tactical brilliance of Carlo. It doesn't make sense.
What makes sense?
Let's get into the game.
Oh,
Briefly.
I was going to say what makes sense is Arsenal getting.
No,
knocked out.
forget Arsenal. This is the game. The winner is coming from this game. The winner of the Champions League. We'll talk about Arsenal briefly. But you see,
The way you do that, you know, nice, man.
but the other side of the draw, they haven't.
But you see, try. See the way he's just forget about Arsenal, no nice, but
no. Believe me.
Okay,
If you
I'll
ask anybody,
I'll give you 3 minutes.
oh, 3 minutes is enough. Thank you very much. Friends, you see, I want to do something about this game,
Yes.
and I want people to realize that Pep Guardiola lost this game, but everybody's talking about Carlo Ancelotti, and then he establishes the premise that if Carlo Ancelotti plays the way he played against City at the Etihad every weekend, he'll be sacked at the end of the season.
Yes.
If he's come in his own box by Levante, Las Palmas, Girona, Cadiz, Atletico Madrid, he'll be sacked. But the reason why Florentino Perez will sleep and sleep good is because this is a one-off fixture. That's the success of it is far bigger than any approach in the game.
Yes.
You get it? If Madrid play this way every weekend, you are not too hopeful. But if Madrid are going to do this in a one-off game, then you can be proud of the hard work of the team. Because we saw them only last week in the first leg. This is not how they played. Yeah. But listen, at the Etihad, it doesn't matter who you are. If you go and joke in that stadium, they will disgrace. And we saw them only last. I thought
everybody has suffered their own fate there.
Bro,
Madrid took 4 there last season.
Bro,
Chelsea have taken 6 there before. Man U
6.
If you
Liverpool,
they will disgrace
5.
you.
Everybody.
Now, Carlo
5.
Ancelotti realizes this, and you see what didn't even help City was the time Real Madrid got their goal.
It was perfect timing for Real.
It was perfect timing. So Real Madrid now needed to wait for another moment to go again. And those moments came. But maybe, not maybe, they couldn't find the right passes and the right touches. At time Bellingham will fall over, somebody will make the right run. So it was all coaching. The application maybe when Madrid were breaking were not always perfect, but you could see it.
Yeah.
When you watch football, don't only look at the team with the ball. Look at the team without it as well. That gives you a lot of information. Look, when Pep, I don't know John Stones' issue, whether he's injured or not. Friends, I've said this on this platform in many places that this season, City has struggled against every big team. You watch City play against Chelsea, and you are all praising Disasi and Malo Gusto. Yet, against Madrid, you say Madrid have a problem with the way they played. It was so easy for Chelsea to have that 1-1 draw with City because Chelsea only asked them to go wide. City in the wide areas now are toothless. So Real Madrid are comfortable to play very narrow in the middle and then ask City to go on, take Fela Mendy on. Let's see if Foden has got the better of him. Let's see if Grealish can get the better of Carvajal. And throughout the whole game, Pep couldn't find a solution for it. To make matters worse, when Pep's free eights in Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne were trying to find spaces, and he pushed up Akanji. When Akanji had balls in very good areas, his inability,
He didn't have the
quality to even let the ball roll across his body and face Man City. So what does he do? He sends the ball back to Rodri when there's a big space behind him between the Madrid midfield and the defenders. If John Stones is in that position, it is easier. So I don't know if he was injured.
So he's more technically gifted.
Far better.
But you spoke about City being toothless in the wide area.
In the
Isn't that where the equalizer came from? When he brought on Jeremy Doku.
So I'm coming there. Now, Pep realizes that the only place they can go, because the midfield is done, they can't play through them, is to go wide. Jack Grealish disappointed me, and earlier today Danny was even mentioning it, because you forced Carvajal into a yellow card, after which you were not doing what you're supposed to do when it came square to him.
Yeah.
But credit to Madrid. You see, when you watch football, watch what the coaches are doing. You know, when Carvajal got that yellow card, Carvajal stopped playing as a right back. Carvajal played as an extra centre back, and Fede Valverde started playing like a right back. So when Grealish got the ball, Grealish was being confronted by Valverde instead of Carvajal, who was on the card.
True. That is true.
So Carvajal no on champion on the second yellow.
He was very deep.
The guy was deep.
Yeah,
Central.
very deep.
Yes, and here's the
So you wouldn't get him on the one.
where are you taking him to? Now,
That's smart coaching.
this is the problem I've said City have got in wide areas. None of their wide players have shown any level of consistency, even in 90 minutes game. So Pep throws on Jeremy Doku, who for the first 8 minutes of the time he was on the pitch showed what he was made of, after which he was nothing else in the game.
After he created a goal, he was useless.
That was it. Now this is the problem Pep has faced. Whoever, and Phil Foden is not a typical winger, so he doesn't have the best of pace and the tricky area to get around fullbacks. Now, if Jeremy Doku could have done what he did in the first 7 minutes of the game that he came on for 90 minutes, every fullback is done. He will cook you, and that is what Sterling and Sané and Mahrez used to do. For 90 minutes, these guys will terrorize your fullbacks. This season, City have not got any player capable of doing that. So Jeremy Doku comes, he helps in creating the first goal, and then he's done. Like he's gone back to he's done.
Gazi winger.
He can't do anything again. And unfortunately for City and Pep, you see, let me say this: Pep wasn't bold. City's best player this season is Phil Foden. Pep hasn't been bold enough in big games to play Phil Foden in positions where he will thrive. So why was Bernardo Silva central and Phil Foden wide
the whole time?
The whole time, because in the areas where Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva were playing, I think Phil should have taken one of those spots, because in the wide area he's only a decoy. He's not very much involved in getting things to happen, and Kevin De Bruyne is not in great form. Credit to him, he scored the goal, first goal, but for the second chance that he missed, this is my thinking, and I'll wrap it up sweetly. The first goal is a brilliant goal, fence. It's a brilliant goal because Rudiger was still on the ground and Lunin had covered the first post. If he goes across the turf, Rudiger blocks it. If he goes to the near post, Lunin saves it. So what does he do? He goes to the roof of the net. But in going to the roof of the net, the position of the shot and the goal post is so short that the ball can't fly over the post. It will fly into the roof. Few minutes or few seconds after, he gets another opportunity and applies the same technique.
Tries to repeat it.
He tries to go to the roof. The difference here is, and I'm thinking that for a player who has processed everything I've just said, is intelligent, of course he would. But everything I've just said, it's still fresh in his memory what he had done and scored only moments earlier. He's trying to repeat the same trick, except that this time the distance between the effort and the goal is bigger.
Oh, it's farther.
It's farther. That's the right word there. Thank you. So he hits the ball, and instead of the ball climbing into the roof, it climbs over the bar. And that's what Danny says. If that is PSG, if that is Man United, if that is even Barca,
he tries something
on a
different.
Champions League night, Kevin De Bruyne places the ball into the side of the net. But when you play against Real Madrid, who have won 14, and the team that comes second has 7, how do you explain it? How do you explain that Real Madrid went on to beat Chelsea, beat PSG, beat City, and beat Liverpool in the final in the manner they did? How do you explain that a football club like Real Madrid, 2 centre backs, they've not been part of the season? Their first choice, Courtois is not catching. They don't have a striker.
Left back.
Their left back has been injured. Chouameni has been in and out. Vinicius Junior has been out for like 2.5 months this season. Rodrigo has had an off season for like 2 months. He was off.
You people don't even say it enough. Lunin is third choice.
Lunin is third choice. How do you explain to me that a club has gone through all of this and are in the Champions League semi-final, if not for Susu?
Okay, nicely wrapped up by Sicho. And you can disagree whether there is Sunsum or there is no Sunsum. But Real Madrid have shown yet again why we call them the owners, rightful owners of the UEFA Champions League. Remember, Of course, the live commentary is on this network, and that's because we are building up to the Hits FM Rep Your Jersey at the Aviation Social Centre. It's on the 1st of June. That's the day of the Champions League final. So be on the lookout for promo stuff coming to this network. 103.9 Hits FM, as well as 99.7 Joy FM. It's going to be really interesting to see which two teams make the final. But keep your messages coming. This is GamePlan on 99.7 Joy FM, 103.9 Hits FM. It's also streaming live on Twitter Spaces, or X Spaces, and I see lots of you who are tuning right now. Leave me a message. Use the hashtag GamePlan on Twitter. If you prefer WhatsApp, 055-111-1997 is the WhatsApp number. I've seen lots of your messages have come in. I'll read them. But also keep sending them, because when I come back from this very, very short break, I'll be reading messages. So if you don't send your message now, I wouldn't be able to read it for you. We've got a conversation to be had on the creation of new national teams here, as well as Arsenal, because lots of Arsenal fans want to hear what the guys have to say about their team and their exit. Liverpool. Sicho says Liverpool... their season has crashed already. I disagree with him.
A fluke.
What do you mean fluke?
Quadruple.
Now treble.
Double.
Now it's double.
Bull.
Oh, but he's been coming down. But by the end of next 2 weeks, he would have been single.
No, he would be left with ball. Because quadruple, treble, double,
ball. No, I need to have a serious conversation about them after the Arsenal.
We'll talk about that very shortly. Remember, Game Plan is brought to you by Petrosol as well as DSTV. But Petrosol says every drop matters just as every penny counts. Good quality fuel enhances your vehicle performance and reduces maintenance costs. So take no risk in times like this. All you need is value for your money. And now they're increasing the fuel prices. Basa. So buy quality fuel, okay? So just go to the next Petrosol fuel station for your clean, accurate quantities fuel suitable for new technology vehicles. Be a happy customer, fill with smiles, drive more miles, and save some money. Petrosol, your clean, quality fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, it's always a delightful experience, and you can watch all of the world's biggest leagues on DSTV. Of course, the Europa League, the UEFA Champions League, all of the action is live on DSTV. You can get yourself a brand new DSTV decoder with a dish as well, or just resubscribe to DSTV. Also, it's time to tell you about the Joy News Impact Makers Awards. In a land where dreams are often cradled in the arms of hope, there exists a league of unsung heroes, and they are the silent architects of change, the torchbearers who eliminate paths where there was only darkness. These are the change makers who sculpt the future of our nation stitch by stitch. Unknown to them, their acts of selflessness have resonated across the land, stirring the hearts of many and sparking a movement of recognition and celebration. Why not try do we? Hey, events mensa, what to bro fool? Fifi comes and these people, you understand English. Anyway, it's that time of the year again, and Joy News, with support from the McDown Foundation, brings you the Joy News Impact Makers Awards 2024. Join us in our quest to spotlight and honor those steadfast warriors who are remolding the destiny of our communities and our nation. The Joy News Impact Makers Awards, celebrating ordinary people making extraordinary impact. The Joy News Impact Makers Awards is proudly brought to you by DBS Industries. We truly are your roof experts. Gold Key Properties, building prestige since 1997, and First National Bank. How can we help you? And of course, the McDown Foundation, building a better community. Joy News, independent, fearless, credible. Brief break. This is Game Plan on 99.7 Joy FM. It's 33 minutes after the hour, 2 p.m. We're going all the way till 3, so we have just about 27 minutes or so left on our remaining conversation. But let me tell you about the Infansipim All Boys Association, MOBA. It is set to hold the induction service for the newly elected National Executive Committee members, led by the Ebusia Penyin-elect Moses Kwesi Baden Jr. It's on Sunday, 28th of April 2024 at the Calvary Methodist Church in Adabraka at 3 p.m. Join us for a day filled with excitement, camaraderie, and networking as we welcome the new National Executive Committee. For any further inquiries, kindly contact the Mobile Secretariat on 050-318-6258 or the mobile number 0249 702-696. Kwaboche, what's the... Does anybody... hold on. Did anyone go to Presec here in this building? No. Danny K, which school? Oh, wait. You finished Achimota. Okay, so that's... So you don't qualify. Sicho, which other school did you finish?
For a penny.
Which one is that?
Nobody here. Okay. He's the one who went to school in Accra. Friend is asking which one is that.
Hey, wait. Answer which one is. For a penny.
For a penny, it's in Koforidua.
Yeah, Koforidua. Yeah,
why do you say yeah like you are not sure?
No, it's not in Koforidua, but people because Kokrantumi is just.
Oh, it's in Kokrantumi.
Yes, in Kokrantumi.
Is it a boys' school or mixed school?
Mixed school.
Mixed.
That's where I found my wife. How do I find my wife in a boys' school?
Wait, you found your wife in secondary school?
Yeah.
But Tahiru, you know the story. So why are you now making the school
my
a
childhood
single sex?
lover?
What do you mean childhood lovers? They call them high school sweethearts.
No, it's my childhood baby girl. When you go define the time for me.
A shock.
You don't be serious.
Why they know be an IT?
You want to do sweetheart? He
Charlie,
wants to do
childhood lover. Yeah.
Actually, where did
Someone
you
know
find
where I see him. I say quick. This one there.
Ask him
Actually, where did you find your wife?
where did you find your wife?
That's the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question.
Oh God!
You look, I are not finding.
Don't mind that guy. Kwaboche, Jinche Kain. I wanted one of you to say it. That's why I was
my
asking.
big bro is in Botre. I want to be to Bianca.
Okay. Anyway, all right. Listen, guys, let's go to the messages. 055-1111-997. 055-1111-997. Oh, just before that, the Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship International Ghana is proud to announce the holding of the first FGBMFI Distinguished Footprints Award Ceremony at the La Palm Beach Hotel on Saturday, 20th April 2024. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. The FGBMFI Distinguished Footprints Award celebrates distinguished individuals, including its own outstanding volunteers, churches, parachurch organizations, as well as members of the general public who have demonstrated excellence, patriotism, and integrity. Join us to applaud the values that define true leaders, including men and women who have excelled at the national level in their contributions towards agriculture and food security, environmental sustainability, politics and governance, and public spiritedness. They didn't mention sports, but we are adding ourselves in there. The Full Gospel Business Men's Fellowship International is the largest Christian businessmen and women's organization in the world. So remember, 6 p.m., the Palm Royal Beach Hotel, 20th April 2024. And, of course, be there or be squared. What's the saying? But anyway, McCarthy Hill. This is Daniel from McCarthy Hill in Accra who says, this Danny K's response is something else. So, Aish, I think he's talking about the Bedman cry. All right. Abeku. Ubeshe you. Okay. Let's look at some more message. Good afternoon, guys. The English club should continue to tickle themselves and be laughing at them. Okay, and be laughing that theirs is the best league in the world because of money and not focusing on the real game. Hope in Odumasi Krobo with a bit of a warning to the English Premier League fans. Okay, let me take some more. This one says, good morning. I'm Bedroom Pep Guardiola from Ontario, Canada. Yes, he's still experiencing morning. He's in Ontario, Canada. Why not? And he says, okay, let me get your message right. All right, cool. Danny's prediction didn't work this time around. Arsenal and Man City couldn't qualify. Can Chelsea beat City on Saturday? How can you say PSG were lucky, Danny? Barca fans act like it's impossible to win a Champions League game with 10 men. Chelsea won against prime Barcelona in the UCL semi-final with an early red card What are you guys saying? I know. I wanted to stick it to them. But yeah, John Terry got sent off. Chelsea still ended up with a 2-2 draw. So like I said.
Playing like Ancelotti's Real Madrid.
Yes, thank you. So some things are not for everybody. Apparently, it's not for Barcelona. They can't. They get one red card. They cry, man, and lose. Wait, what was the full-time score, Crash? 3-1. 4-1. You lose 4-1 because you had a man sent off. A man sent off at home. Chelsea had a man sent off at Barcelona. They were go down and still ended up drawing 2-2. Oh, my word. Chelsea Football Club. I love you. This one says, okay, this is a message from Dale texting us from Madrid. He says, you guys are doing well. And he says, in the competitive football, we look for a winner. Thus, you must use everything professionally right in the game to win, including avoiding mistakes. Thus, the better teams won, according to you. Real Madrid, we won genuinely. We need to stop the cheap propaganda and allow teams to play their game as they deem fit. Pedigree is also hard work. We are happy here in Madrid. Hashtag Hala Madrid. Hashtag Apollo 15. The 15 is coming.
Apollo 15.
Yes, I almost said Apollo 15. Dale, thank you very much for your message. Listening to us all the way from Madrid. This one says, Guardiola is a marathon coach or elite coach. He doesn't do well with cup matches. And that's where the likes of Mourinho flourish.
When was the last time Mourinho was good in the cup matches?
Oh, only last year he won the conference.
Wilson.
But Pep is a better cup manager than Mourinho too. So.
Okay, Wilson.
He's won more cups than him. So
Wilson sent us that message. This message says, "Hello, fan. Ask your guys who defended very well against Man City at the Etihad. Arsenal in their 0-0 draw, or Real Madrid on Wednesday night."
Oh no, Arsenal.
Stanley in Achimota.
Have you seen the quotes coming through though? David Ancelotti says they studied Arsenal's defensive shape.
Yes.
Against Arsenal, they were brilliant.
So in other words, what the guys are saying here is that Real Madrid's game was fashioned off of Arsenal's game against Man City. So
but Arsenal lacked the sum against.
Nitojo from Tema Newtown says, "Why all these national teams? I don't understand the age difference at all." All right, we'll get into that briefly. More messages. Papasi in Aprade says, yes, he says, please be gentle with Arsenal. Why? We are bleeding still. All right. Okay. Thank you. Arsenal are bleeding, he says. And this one just says, okay. This was, he says we should wish his daughter a belated happy birthday. And you don't tell us your daughter's name. So happy birthday to your daughter.
Send the name. Send the name of your daughter. The name.
Yes, we'll give your daughter
so
shout
that
out.
You give the shout out. Yeah.
Danny K, there's no other person to give this to than you. Arsenal against Bayern Munich. It didn't quite happen over 2 legs. They lost 3-2 on aggregate. I don't want to dwell too much on it.
Oh no, Tahiru, it's all about Sum and Aura. No, to be honest, look, I like to look at football in a strictly scientific manner. But it looks like every Champions League season, I'm reminded to add a bit of sum to the analysis.
The English word for sum is pedigree.
Yeah, pedigree.
Heritage and pedigree.
Look, when you watch that Bayern Arsenal game, you could clearly see something just switched on in the Bayern Munich players and the manager, their minds. From the start, yes, you need to credit both teams. I think Tuchel starting with Mazraoui and Guerrero down the left-hand side was as a response to what happened in the first leg, where he saw both goals came with Arsenal overloading the right hand side and then creating space and then scored. So he dealt with that, and that was a brilliant tactical plan. But even in spite of that, I think in that first half, I was surprised Arsenal were not able to get a goal. But straight from second half, you could just tell, when you were watching the game, you can see the space that Arsenal can thrive in. But it just wasn't happening. And Bayern Munich, something just switched on. Their players were everywhere. They were winning all the duels. They just looked a bit more committed. And for me, you could just tell that they didn't understand how they would go home against Arsenal. That's just how I saw it.
They can't be kicked out by Arsenal.
We can't be kicked out by Arsenal. If anybody will kick us out, it's not this team. That's just how I saw it. And Arsenal were and this is something that
Because to be
has
fair, like you
followed
said-
them for a very long time.
Okay.
Arsenal were afraid of the consequences of failure. It shows a lot when it comes to the critical time with this. In fact, in the club, we saw that Champions League against Barcelona. When they don't know how to play without fear, and for me, it's surprising, especially at the critical point. For me, I'm looking at a club who nobody expects you to go and win Champions League. Yeah. You're facing Bayern Munich. Like, I don't know how difficult it is to motivate yourself not to be afraid. Like, what is there to be afraid? If you go out, what? It's not a disaster. It's more of a disaster if Bayern gets kicked out in the quarterfinal against Arsenal. So I really don't understand how the Arsenal players seem so nervous in that second half. They were just switched off. And the reason why I'm not blaming Arteta is tactically, as I'm saying, if you watch the game, you could see that in as much as Bayern were doing really good, it was also the fine details of commitment from the Arsenal players, willingness to also win certain duels, going into tackles, taking initiative in some situations. And they just lacked that. And you could tell that once they didn't score that goal in the first half, it clearly affected their thinking going into the second half. And Bayern ran all over them. In fact, in the last 10 minutes was almost like a comedy, because Bayern didn't look afraid. Like, Arsenal were looking for a goal, but Arsenal looked scared that they won't score. Like, that's how it looked like.
That was so off.
They enter the box and an extra pass will create space, but they are rushing a shot, or they are taking a very silly decision, passing it sideways. It was just off. And
look at the last corner kick from Saka.
I'm not sure
in
what
fact,
was going on there.
that one I have to see it. It's not just the last corner kick.
Okay.
Something happened before the last corner kick. Oh,
Free kick.
somebody has done we're winning free kick.
Oh.
Sweet area.
Yeah.
And what's the thing again? When the free kick, the director said, "Bah!" Then they went to the big boys who were coming from the back.
Yeah.
Oh,
Before they
Saliba
could get
them
there,
are
no.
coming. You Saka.
The
They
early,
know
I
quick-
didn't see what the motivation
What was that
Pass the
for?
ball to Ben White. Then they win the corner. Then
Then you go and
he played the corner to the first man, like with nothing.
It's the same
All
thing
right,
Enzo.
all
It's the
right,
same
Monday.
thing Enzo did in the Carabao Cup final. Those small boys, when you give them hype small, they think they've reached. Enzo did the same thing. Last minute, Chelsea had a free kick, a very juicy area.
Yeah.
Then he just took
They
it
do
quick
that,
and
yeah.
spoiled the whole matter.
Yeah.
Force it. Last one. You boom it into the box.
You
and
never
let's
know
see.
what
I
happens.
You never
want
know
to
what
ask
will
a
happen.
quick question. What do you make of Arteta's statement that they don't have a striker that can score 30 to 40 goals and they must live with that?
No,
Is that a
it's-
suggestion of...
No, I take it with a pinch of salt. It's basically like what Pep said. Highlander and this one said he wanted to come off. Asheno, the thing was Asheno, and he's trying to find.
No, but I also think. I
No,
also
no,
think
but
genuinely
it
because-
doesn't- no, but
I'm saying
because-
that because the same man at the start of the season said they didn't need.
That's
that
what
there's
I was
goals in the
getting
team.
at.
Yeah, so
is it
but-
an admission now that perhaps it is something that you would have liked a striker
but-
like that?
But
but
even
when
this
you
season,
look at
Arsenal have only scored a goal fewer than
The-
City.
yeah.
no, but
Last season they were breaking their goal
the
scoring
best,
record.
but actually-
the best response I've seen from anybody is that the one with that kind of striker cries out.
No, but I think on a serious note, Arteta realizes that he needs a striker, and Arsenal have in the last 12, 18 months or so been looking for a striker. They've been looking to bring in Ivan Toney. Was too expensive in January.
I
They
don't
didn't
believe
bring him
that.
in.
You know, I'm
It's not looking at bringing a striker.
Last season,
And that's why they brought Gabriel.
Last season, when they brought in Gabriel Jesus, we all knew that Gabriel Jesus wasn't going to be that prolific striker
Yeah.
for them. If you look at the last months of last season, that cost them. We all saw it. It cost them.
But do you think
Then
they
he goes
knew
into
that?
he goes into the summer transfer window again, doesn't buy a striker, and then justifies it no once twice, but like 3 or 4 times why he didn't think he needs a striker.
I've got
then
a-
he reaches this point when he
But
has
what about-
probably one of the best attacks in the
What
league.
about all
and
the
he's-
links to Isak though? Because they've been
But Isaac
heavily
is not
linked.
prolific. Me, I think that is.
I think Arsenal.
is-
I think it's an admission that they need a striker.
Bro,
but friends-
his senior brother or his mentor, Pep Guardiola, said go buy striker before he chop Champions League. Make it didn't do two no.
Yeah, but
Make
Benjamin-
him buy striker and do
But
two
he
no.
doesn't even
Okay,
win league. You should
okay.
think
But-
about
but
Champions
here
League.
is-
Let him focus on
Pep
the
no.
Tissue.
Hold
Pep
on.
If you
no.
look at the balance of the game, Arsenal's problem was not having a goal scorer. Even check the chances they created, or even the attempt on goal. It took up to the 88th minute for Arsenal to register their second shot in that second half.
No, the first Arsenal had.
In the second,
yeah,
I'm
in
talking about in the second
yeah.
half. The two shots in the second half were 42 minutes apart.
Yeah, but you see, it's not just
42
about. You see, the thing is, the thing about having a striker is also modifies the way you play.
There is
So
that.
let's say if
Friends,
they had a striker, I'm not sure.
So the team
If you
itself
leave
has
me,
not been great, and how they planned.
No
it,
serious team should go without a striker.
see how they planned the
Pep
team.
na that more.
Danny mentioned the collapse at the end of last season. We're seeing the same thing again. Last season, the whole of the month
not
of
seeing
April,
anything. I haven't
Arsenal
seen
did not win a match.
Yeah,
The
the
whole of
April thing.
April.
In the month of April.
Yeah.
This month
3
as well,
seasons ago the same.
they won the first 2 matches and they failed to win any of the 4 matches that have followed.
Charlie, we are halfway through April. Relax.
Okay.
Benjamin Clinton says, he says, we are the coolest, talking about the Barcelona game. We've learnt our lessons and we are going to take it forward. Okay.
Barcelona
Your
trophyless.
competition has
I've
ended.
got a-
You guys
wait,
have
Barcelona
something to talk
trophyless this season.
I've got a message here from Chief Seidu Adamu, our brother, listen to us all the way from DC, Washington.
Quick.
Fent, it seems many people are now seeing Real Madrid and their style of play because they don't rely on the flamboyant style of football. They've always had the tough and rugged defenders to do that type of job. They did it against Man City last Wednesday. You check this list of former Real Madrid defenders, and he provides me a list. Walter Samuel, Allah, Fabio Cannavaro, Pepe, Rudiger, Sergio Ramos, Ivan Helguera, Michel Salgado, Fernando Hierro, Aitor Karanka, Rafael Varane. These are not...
Is there a team in the world that does not have a history of rugged defenders?
They
Every
are.
team has them.
Man City hasn't.
Oh.
Yes.
Ruben
Otamendi
Diaz. How many?
Mangala.
No, Otamendi,
Diaz.
Mangala,
Otamendi,
Ruben
Mangala.
Diaz, Vincent Kompany.
Vincent
No,
Kompany.
if you take our company, the rest of them
Ruben
are
Diaz
very-
is so rugged, eh?
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz.
He's
Oh,
such a-
yeah,
can
why
do
not
nice
City?
things.
Otamendi.
Yes, yes.
Otamendi.
Otamendi.
You've forgotten
Mangala.
Joaquim Mangala.
Otamendi and the match no starts if he shows
You know,
it.
It's so what must have been this slide?
One
What
side is the
must
same.
have been this slide?
Shout out my boy Paul FPS. He says, I'm enjoying the discussion. Let Arteta suffer with his pride of not getting a striker. Keep up the good work. I want us to talk about the creation of the new national teams, but I cannot, for the life of me, not talk about Liverpool's collapse. What is going on there?
Fitz, I've told you this before. All of clubs, big boys who need to carry the team. It's almost as if it was better when these players were injured and you had to rely on the young boys than they being fit. Look, that Mohamed Salah chance that he missed on the 38th minute, the ball over the top for him, goalkeeper is approaching, there's big space behind the goalkeeper. He's trying to get the ball over the goalkeeper and he just completely misses the mark. If Salah scores that goal and it's 2-0, I guarantee you Liverpool will win. And I said it before the second leg, Atalanta are not comfortable playing at Bergamo. I can't explain why, but they are just more fluid, or they are better when they play away from home. And we saw how they started the game yesterday. And with Liverpool not taking the chances, some of the chances they created, Atalanta grew into the game. And the second half, it didn't look like Atalanta were going to concede.
Yeah.
The game was still like you won't score, you won't score. Yeah, and that was it. But the big issue now for Klopp is how he gets these boys to play. And listen, for Mohamed Salah, we've always known that getting to the end of the season, he's always burning out because the way he's played over the years, the way he plays over the years, he has a great start to the season. But when the season is about to end, it was Sadio Mane who was scoring the most important goals. They ran up into the Champions League final that they lost against Real Madrid. It's always been money around this time of the season. Salah historically with Liverpool has not necessarily had 10 goals in 5 games. He doesn't. It's repeating itself. It's now glaring because
the rest of them
are not bailing him out.
Yeah.
Luis Diaz some way. Darwin Nunes
very some way.
Jota has just returned from injury. Cody Gakpo plays well, but he's not a natural finisher. So all of a sudden, the Salah that we saw at the start of the season that we are not seeing now is greatly affecting Liverpool because the rest are not shining, and they're out of the Europa League and now have to try and win the league, which I don't think they've got what it takes to, considering how they are playing.
That is wild. I want to hear from the Liverpool fans because it looks like Liverpool could potentially. Well, the thing is, if Man City do eliminate Chelsea, which looks likely, I can't see how Liverpool wins the FA Cup. But
Liverpool are not in the FA Cup.
hey, who is in the FA Cup?
Man United
Oh,
and
Man
Coventry.
United, I beg
Why
your
are you
pardon.
putting them in situations and
Hold on,
competitions that they are not in?
I beg your pardon.
Eh?
Okay,
You want to force club to
Why
you?
you want to
You want to
force
force club to you?
They've won
If you do
one
that,
trophy already.
Akomia will come and tell you that Man U is
They've
going
won
to
one
face
trophy.
Dortmund in Champions League.
They've won one trophy already.
Akomia.
It looks like in cup competition, domestic cup competition, the only time Liverpool win is when they face Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the cup
Have
competition
gifted
they've
them
won.
three.
All the cup competition club has won.
Three.
It's been against Chelsea.
Three.
At the time the club was struggling. It's a
Yes.
fact.
Sly says
all
you
of
guys
them
are
are
just too much in-depth analysis, Pabi. There's more grease to your elbows, guys. But Fentu, hard guy like you, you they support Chelsea. Glory, Man U.
Oh, sport
I
it.
thought he was supporting some better team.
Sport it.
Man U fan, they come tease Chelsea fan in this season.
My then day I just go finish above them. You watch.
Oh, massa. Oh yeah, that one day. I know the doubt crowd. Arsenal and Casano, the more we look hopeful, then the opposite takes place. But still, the Gunners was Vinicius part of the penalty lineup. That papacy.
He was
with
off,
that,
out of the game.
yeah, he was part of the game. That's what really
At that
matters.
time they are taking
I've
him
got-
off.
He had been
He had
substituted
been
before.
subbed.
Yeah. I've got a couple of messages from Twitter that I wanted to share. Jeremiah Johnson says, Sicho, you spoiled there, Charlie. That was some brilliant analysis. It's actually the conclusion of the whole matter. If anyone still disagrees with this, then the person is some way.
My guy.
Big some
My
way.
guy.
Pelo says, I love the raw word used by Sicho. Catching for Courtois not being around. And Blackbean says, Pep overthought the first half until 65th minute. He played Bernardo on the left and Foden right wing. City's loss is on him any day, all day. He is fraud, he says. And he says, why was Stones benched? Huh? This defeat no be Carlo masterclass. It be Pep overthinking attitude. It's not. That sounds familiar. Every time Pep loses, he overthought. Every time he wins, he's a genius. Very interesting. Actually, let me show this to you. The creation of all the new national teams. The FA says it is to enable them, ensure that all of the talents goes through the conveyor belt and no talent is missed.
Yeah.
They also say it's to create an avenue for all the coaches they are training to, to transfer that knowledge to the players at an elite level. But going through it at all those levels, it's starting to feel that some of them are a little bit redundant because some of those age categories overlap. Is that the same feeling you have, or you think this is actually a very a brilliant move like the FA is touting it?
I don't have a problem with the age categories. The first question I asked myself when I saw that was, where are the talents going to come from? Who's going to produce the talents for them to then be identified and then spotted in that pool? For 5 years, the FA has tried to work with the Ministry of Education to include what they do or what they believe the kids need to be taught into the school syllabus. They have not had any success in that regard. The Sports Ministry has not been able to also help in that regard. Now, I'm talking about this side because before you identified what you think to be significant talent, someone must have developed that talent. That kid must have played under someone. That kid must have played somewhere. Friends, think of where you stay. If a child in that neighborhood wanted to play, is there a space where that kid could go and then train, play with their friends, age mates, and have fun? Is there a place like that where for the 6, 8, 10-year-olds who are now growing want to have a feel of the ball, not anything structured, but just want to go there and have fun? Because that's the first point of identifying who has the interest and who has the unique talents, for you to then say that because there is this, you want to take the player on and then groom them. Friends, and I'm trying to include everyone. So everyone listening to us, just make a mental picture of where you live, right? Or even where you work. Is there any such space available?
So you're saying
there
that
needs to be a policy convergence.
Okay, fair enough.
Between the FA's plan, what the Ministry of Education and what the Ministry of Youth and Sports
For this to work ultimately.
For this to work. So in terms of the infrastructure in place where the kids will play, the people who are going to teach the kids the fundamentals that the FA is going to see to identify.
Before we go, guys, Dreams FC against Zamalek this very weekend. Big deal. What kind of result would be favorable to Dreams in this situation? Sicho, 20-second analysis.
I mean, the game should be alive by the time they come for the second leg. The game should be alive.
So even
if they lose, the game should be alive. It shouldn't be 3-0, 4-0. You know, just give yourself the opportunity to fight when you come home. And based on what we've seen them do this season, you can't put that past them. But yeah, all the best. Zamalek is a really tough one.
Daniel?
Extremely tough, but keep believing. It's possible. I really believe it's possible.
Yeah. And you were there. You went to meet Dreams over the week.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like in 30 seconds? What do you think is going to happen in this game? It's on Sunday at 4 p.m. in Cairo.
I don't know what Zito has seen, but I like what they were preparing for. And I think that what they need to focus in the application of whatever they did, because we obviously can't talk about that here, is to play for a retrievable result. Right.
Like Sicho said.
Yeah. So that when you come down here, you
You
are not
I
left
have
with,
to simplify it. That's what you just said.
you are
You
not
said you
left
should be alive by the time they come back.
Retrievable
Retrievable
results.
you are not
results.
left with too much to do.
God damn it.
As for this one, there's something that I can say for Karim Zito. Whatever we see on Sunday, if the players are not able to apply it well, I think we'll move to maybe the issue of aura and application and
That might be
their state of
issue.
mind,
Okay.
because the taxes were
Yeah,
clear
that's
enough.
true.
And it seemed they understood.
Yeah, that's true. A big shout out to Sweet Karim and Factual Mubarak.
Hey.
Karim is now a graduate.
Yeah,
and his
congrats,
girlfriend Aisha was at his graduation ceremony. They look so beautiful together.
Hey!
Karim is in love.
Monday we'll show you pictures.
Yes, he has given me a minimum of 2.5 years.
Hey,
yes,
Daddy
so
K, thank
I'm
you.
counting down.
Congrats
Sweet
to Mubarak
Karim.
and Karim, who graduated from Unimac GIJ yesterday. Also, a happy birthday to Jacqueline Ansoma, Yeboah of Joy News. God bless and favor you in everything you do. My name is Fentio, Tahiru Fentio. All the best to Dreams FC, and thank you so much for joining us. We're back again next Friday. Until then, it's bye for now.